What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metro Fast, where I'm coming to you with another video game review. And this time I'm reviewing the game The Death and Return of Superman that was released on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis by Blizzard Entertainment and Sunsoft. And this is pretty much a beat 'em up game that's based off of the comic book series within the Superman universe called The Death of Superman. And pretty much the plot is that Doomsday ends up killing Superman as within the comics, but there's been pretty much like several sightings of people of several Supermans. You know what I'm saying? People have been saying different versions of Superman has been popping up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And claiming to be pretty much the real Superman. So the big question is, which one is really the real Superman and everything? Now, pretty much the Death and Return of Superman has pretty much like 9 stages, 10 stages, something where within there where you fight different enemies and stuff like that within the beat 'em up genre, and you pretty much like discover like who's really the real Superman and everything. Of course, you will find that out at the end of the game, since I'm not going to spoil it. Now, you play as the Superman, Superboy, the Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, and John Irons, who was like known as the Man of Steel because he's the one that built a robotic version of Superman and put it on in honor of Superman after he died and stuff. Now, the one thing about it is that you play like you don't play, of course you don't play as all of them at once, but you like, you play like, with the first couple of stages you play as Superman, then from that point on, in each stage you play as one of the Supermans, whether it be Eradicator or Superboy, you know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much already determined which Superman you will play on a specific stage and stuff. Now, I'll be honest enough to admit that I never read the Death of Superman comic book series, but pretty much want to assume that the majority of the enemies that's in the game don't show up in the comic book series. You know what I'm saying? Maybe with the exception of like Doomsday and the different say different Supermans, of course, they show up in the game, of course. You know, it seemed like a lot of the enemies in the game are your generic, kind of generic cookie cutter enemies that you find in other beat 'em up games like the Final Fight trilogy and the Streets of Rage trilogy. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like a big complaint that I have, but something that I've noticed. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's kind of like when it comes to the different moves you can do, you can pretty much punch enemies, use your X-ray to stun enemies. You can do this one special move where you can go up and down and punch around to take out the enemies, and of course you can fly also. So that's kind of a no-brainer right there. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you can also pick up certain items and throw them at enemies like boxes and motorcycles. But the thing about the motorcycles is that you'll find one of the enemies riding it, and you pretty much have to knock them off so they won't run you over and everything. Then once you knock them off, you pretty much just throw them, pick it up and throw the motorcycle at the one who was riding it, plus any other enemy that happened to show up. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the graphics and level design, it's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It has some nice color palettes and some nice sprites to it, but at the same time, it didn't like do anything to like. It's pretty. What I'm saying is pretty similar to any like Final Fight, Streets of Rage stuff like that. Guys, but it just had that has a darker vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? As far as the graphics, you know. Now the controls and gameplay, they're pretty good too. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like if you played a beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, whether it be say like Final Fight or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, or even the Streets of Rage trilogy on Sega Genesis, you pretty much know what to expect whether you're playing the Super Nintendo version or the Sega Genesis version and stuff. Now, the soundtrack, while it is pretty decent, is pretty much the weakest part of the game because it's not really impressive, you know what I'm saying? And it really didn't set any new standards for the beat 'em up genres from that particular time frame back in the 90s and stuff. Now, I will say that it can get difficult at times because some of the enemies can get rather annoying because they can hit you like 3 times before you land a punch and stuff, you know. But like overall, the Death and Return of Superman is really a good game, you know what I'm saying? And it is pretty much a good fit for the beat 'em up genre and stuff. And I would definitely recommend the Death and Return of Superman to anybody who's a retro gamer, anybody who's a fan of the beat 'em up genre, and any YouTuber who does let's plays on that channel and stuff. Now, I'll be honest enough to say that the um the Death and Return of Superman is it seemed like this is pretty much the best Superman game to be released within the last 25 years. Of course, I can't say that about Superman 64. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that sucker been bashed, you know. Now, as far as the score, I definitely give it an 8 out of 10. It's pretty much a good beat 'em up game, but it's not technically the best one. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, if you played the Death and Return of Superman, you can mention it in the comment section in the of the video. If it happen to be your favorite beat 'em up game, you can mention that too. If you like my review of the Death and Return of Superman, you can don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.